A warm cheer for our panelists. First up, Kamil Gębski, Marketing Director at Maspex. And Maspex is a partner of EIT Food. Welcome, Kamil.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. Next up, we have Rostislav Brzobohaty. I was convinced I was going to get the pronunciation right. I'm not sure if I did, but wonderful. Thank you. Great to have you with us. Rostislav is the COO at Mewery. And Mewery is a startup from the EIT Food portfolio that took part in the Food Acceleration Network. And third, we have Milos Milicsevics, Head of Research Intelligence at VC Leaders. Wonderful to have you, Milos. Our fourth panelist, Alina Dolmate, Head of Innovation Ecosystem Development Unit at RUT Science and Innovation Center. Great, Alina. And last but certainly not least, our moderator of this fantastic panel, Zosia Wanat, Senior Reporter at Sifted. And Zosia has a great overview as a Sifted journalist and due to her experience at Politico. So, panel, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tessa, for this very kind welcome. It's indeed, I'm double excited to be here moderating this panel because this is like a perfect collision of the two worlds which are very, very close to my heart. My current world at Sifted, where I cover startups, but also the world from my past life at Politico, where I covered agriculture and food policies. So yeah, very, very excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. So as you've heard already, today we're going to discuss the trends of agri-food innovation and technology in Central and Eastern Europe. We will try to answer the questions of what kind of startups are emerging right now across the region. Do VCs actually want to invest in these startups? And what can be done to improve the ecosystem as a whole with all the stakeholders involved? And to do that, I think, let me just stress that I think we're joined by an excellent panel of experts who really represent the whole ecosystem spectrum. We have representatives from the startup, from the investor sides, from the corporates, from the universities. It doesn't happen so often at conferences. So congrats to organizers for bringing such a great crowd today. And thank you so much for joining us today as well. And before starting the discussion, I would like to give you some space for to introduce yourself and also maybe tell us a little bit more about your experience with the startups. Let me just start with Milos because he's right here. So can you tell us a little bit more about VC Leaders and who do you represent? Yeah, what do you do?
Sure, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Milos. I'm the head of research and intelligence at VC Leaders, an organization that supports investors in early stage firms in Europe with business and market intelligence. I'm also a professor at the university and head of entrepreneurship track at Corvinus University, which is one of the highest ranked universities in Hungary. We also have a Department of Agriculture that is highly praised, and Corvinus has given many food tech entrepreneurs over the last 10 years. So I'm here as a representative of a broader investor community and also a university with established traction in food tech space. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Rosta, could you tell us a bit more about Mewery? I mean, we know that you've gone through EIT Accelerator, but if you could tell us what do you actually do, sure. What's the innovation?
So hello, good afternoon. My name is Rostislav, and I'm working as commercial director at Mewery. Mewery is a Czech-based company which is developing the process or bioprocess of co-cultivation of the animal cells and microalgae cells. What comes out of this is the something what we could call as a cultivated meat. We are one of the few companies in the Central Europe region who are working in this area, and we will be talking about it, but I believe that we have a huge opportunity here in the region to support this whole segment. And the other question was?
No, that's it. I mean,
Okay.
unless you want to add something about the company. Perfect. And Kamil, about Maspex, if you could just tell, we probably have all eaten Maspex food already because it,
Yeah,
you know.
for sure you all eaten or drank something from Maspex. Maspex is one of the biggest food companies in Europe, the biggest in Central Europe, holding leadership position in most of the markets we are operating in, drinks and beverages categories, also with food, mainly pasta, ketchups, jams, so actually agriculture processed food. And also we have like in alcohol, spirits since 2022. Yeah, so one of the biggest companies in food production and distribution in Europe. With scale comes some impact and responsibility. About that later.
And could you also tell us maybe what's this Maspex approach to innovation and how do you cooperate with startups?
Sure. We have in the company the dedicated department, department dedicated to innovations. But having a department, we are not very strict or specific about like procedures how to operate with startups. Knowing that actually startups also are very different and very open, and the whole area is very fluid and still evolving. So there are people who work with European funds, there are people who work with specific production plans, searching for innovative ideas, both from inside of the company, from our like the providers of our raw materials, and from wide world, I would say, from academia, from innovators, etc. And all those, I mean, EIT actually is great forum for this, searching for this innovation, and a lot of ideas are coming through the company, through the people in different departments, like kind of checking if somebody can find some opportunity in this idea. Of course, we look at all of those possible innovations through our lens. So we look, is it giving us some kind of profit? But also is it fitting our sustainable growth agenda? And also, is it maybe in the longer term changing the category that we are operating in? So always we want to be first in those new things that can change face of the categories that we are leading.
Lovely, thank you. And last but not least, Alina, could you tell us what you do at the Technical University of Riga?
Yeah, so my name is Alina. Hi, everyone. I'm representing one of the leading science universities in the Baltic region, which is Riga Technical University, and in particular, Science and Innovation Center. Science and Innovation Center is the unit newly built, established as part of the Riga Tech ecosystem to proactively support and foster innovation, to act as a connectivity hub for industry, for policy makers, for all ecosystem involved in innovation, like in fostering innovation, and also connecting the national and international innovation ecosystems, as well as support our researchers in commercializing their science. And as well as me personally, I have been lucky to be EIT Food Hub representative in Latvia for the last 2 years, and hopefully also contribute to the growth of our community.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we've had the good news already from Eva, and we can see it in the report as well. You can you can scan the QR code and download the report. The number of agri and food startups across the region is growing. There are more and more of new innovative ventures. They are very diverse, as Eva said. So that's the good news. We will pass to the bad news later. Can you, like in a very general terms, do you think there are any subsectors of this big food category that CEE is especially good at, something that we really can stand out on the European map? And also, maybe are there any factors which have been in the recent years sort of driving the growth of this category? Milos, you've written the report, so you probably know.
Thank you. Probably. Well, I think food risks and challenges in terms of food affordability, security, sustainability, quality, and climate change are all relevant factors for why we talk about food differently today than some 10 years ago. However, we have seen across the region, CE region, large disparities in terms of growth momentum of startups, their number, and size of the investment they received. What I would like to highlight is that no region of the CE seems to be immune to food supply chain challenges. However, there are some interesting differences that report highlights. One of them is, for instance, rapid growth in the number of food tech startups in the Balkans, region which has been highly affected by climate change. But of course, this is only in relative terms, relative to the rest of the startups. We see this growth momentum in these two verticals, food tech and agri-tech, across the whole region.
Perfect.
Yeah, Bill, I will obviously talk about cultivated meat segment because that's a segment that has a very specific position here in the Central European region. Maybe just a short introduction for those of you who haven't heard about cultivated meat before. Cultivated meat is a product and it's a part of the climate solution as we see it, which can create the new type of food based on the meat or meat cells, to be precise, that is developed in a way that you take the cells from the animal without hurting the animal, without killing the animal, and you put it into the bioreactor, and from the cells the meat grows. This is very, very extremely simplified. What we are doing in Mewery is that we combine it with microalgae because it has a lot of benefits for both consumers and for the production. And we are creating completely new type of meat and new type of food in general. So if I should speak about a segment that has a specific position in CE, cultivated meat is definitely the one. It's a big shame that there are not that many companies in this region as we see it in Western Europe, in the US, in Asia. There are around 150 or 60 companies in the world that are at this moment in the, how to call it, not fight, but rather race to be the first on the market with the cultivated meat. But there are just around 20 to 30 which are doing the full-scale development of cultivated meat, so from the cells, isolation of cells, to production of the final product and consumer product. And we are one of them. There are two other companies that I know about. The other one is also based in the Czech Republic. It's called Benemeat. And the third one is in Poland. And shame on me, I forgot the name. Sorry.
Anyone knows?
Farmland, yeah, probably. So there are very few companies here, and that has a huge impact on the investment environment here, because we see it also on the approach of the investors who are very interested in the segment, but they don't have enough knowledge in the segment.
Let's talk about the investors in a second. Thank you so much for this. Very, very interesting. And Kamil, do you see any particular group of startups that are, that you see more of coming to you to Maspex?
I think there are two, let's say, roads with those startups that can be treated as agri-food innovators, and still they are from very different areas. So the one area is specifically about new types of food processing. It's very much about science, like this meat story, or we also doing things like that. It's also related to what Milos mentioned, like the climate change. So, for example, for production of pasta we need wheat, and we are searching for the new types of wheat that can be more effective in this climate as we have now. The same with tomato, for example. We are a big producer of ketchup also. So those are science-based innovations with a lot of genetic, researches and stuff. And there are also, I believe, there is also other leg which is also very much related with food. And it's all about stuff like packaging. Areas like packaging, logistics. Even marketing, when you also can be innovative, and it's also helping this big change in thinking about food production and the future of food. But it's not that easy, I would say, connected. So those are two legs that we are working with, and areas that I was mentioning, like this wheat for pasta or new tomatoes for ketchup. This is something we do, but also we are very open for innovations that helps us with marketing materials optimization, with packaging optimization, for making it all more environmentally friendly.
Lovely, thank you. And Alina, at the universities, what do researchers work on?
I would say that my general observation for Latvia is that Latvia has shown strengths in two particular areas, which is agri-tech and innovative foods. And by agri-tech, I mean both hardware side of it and also software side of it, and this is also supported by the recent report. To speak on the Baltic level, I believe our colleagues from Estonia have also done quite a great contribution into the retail sector and delivery sectors of it, with the amazing case of Bolt. But in general, yes, I believe that the agriculture, agri-tech, also biotech, these are the directions that we are very strong at.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It's all very interesting, but then to develop all these ventures and ideas, we need money, right? And that's the bad news, I would say, moderately good news coming from the report, is that there is still not enough money, I would say, coming to this sector from the VCs, from private investors. Yes, the report says that this interest is moderate. I think it's a very diplomatic way of putting it. First of all, the first question, is that the main challenge for the startups in the region, or are there also other challenges which are more severe than the lack of funding? And the second question, from your experience, your professional experience, do you see that this interest is growing? I mean, are there investors who are, more interested in agri-food startups than the others? How does it look like? How does this landscape look like in the region? Sorry, I will start with Milos again because it's convenient.
Thank you. Well, I think we should make a distinction between short-term challenges and our region's long-term problems. The short-term challenge is related to the general pullback in VC financing that we see everywhere across the globe. The year of 2022 marks the end of an extraordinary investment cycle, during which a growing number of food tech startups in this region received traction in capital markets in this region. Since then, we have seen financing drying out with obvious financial stress on our startups. Our startups have used external financing, VC financing, to support their operations in many cases and scale up ambitions. So for them, the short-term challenge is how to survive before VC activity picks up again. That may happen in the next 12 to 18 months. Our long-term problems are, well, somewhat different. In this region, there is an absence of niche food tech investors and differentiation among investors with obvious consequences for their investment decisions, value-added activities, assistance, and exit performance. I think the gap in quality between our startups and investors is increasing. We see an increasing number of startups our startups in this region, securing financing from non-CEE investors. One of such cases, this is a generalization, but of course there are many cases supporting my point, is a Hungary-based startup, Munch, M-U-N-C-H, a company that received very attractive, one of the most attractive A rounds at the end of last year during a very severe pullback. And the case is interesting. These Munch entrepreneurs came out of Corvinus, came out of the track, the entrepreneurship track that I'm head of. They had 5 initial investors in pre-seed and seed stage, wanted to secure financing from their existing investors and couldn't. There was a commitment of only 1 investor. 4 out of 5 investors couldn't simply understand the market potential of a company in food retail space that was quite unique for our region at the time.
They do food waste, right?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry,
Yes.
just so everyone is.
That's a very interesting case. So they secured a round, a very good, very lucrative A round from a Python Capital, UK-based VC Python Capital that is focused on firms with network effects. So they have found a niche investor in Europe that understood their business model. Well, quite surprisingly, all Hungarian investors who refused them wanted to double on their what was supposed to be their commitment, but they were left with dry feet. And this is a big problem for our region, that our investors may not understand market potential of some of these companies, and that we may see a growing gap in quality between somehow our startup ecosystem is evolving at a more rapid pace than our capital market.
Just one follow-up question. Do you think there is an opportunity that this will be changing soon? I know that there is the first fund, I think it's called Heavy Finance, is in Lithuania. They are raising like 50 million just for agri-tech solutions. So they're like the first signs that maybe someone thinks about this. Do you think like in the next couple of years we'll see more of those more specialized VCs?
It will be great to see them. It will take some time before venture capital recovers from the current recession. I think in order to have a vibrant venture capital, there needs to be a cycle, an input coming from entrepreneurs getting into venture capital, becoming investors themselves once they make successful exits. So for that to happen, we also need to demonstrate strong traction on startup, in the startup space.
Rosta, I think it would be great to hear your story now, because you have you have raised a pre-seed round, if I remember correctly, from a private investor, and then you got a grant from the Czech agency. How has it been for you? Like, how has the fundraising looked like? You mentioned already that it wasn't easy because there are just not too many startups like yours, so investors are a little bit like, we don't really know if this is worth investing. So, like, what have been the other challenges, and like, what could be better? So, like, if you want to raise a subsequent round, what could improve your situation?
Mm-hmm. I think there are a couple of reasons behind the situation with CEE investors, at least speaking for the cultivated meat industry, and they are all connected. Maybe just a short excursion to the past. So we had this pre-seed round. What happened first was that we got a really big investment company, which is called BIV. And that basically started or initiated the demand from the CE companies, investment companies, I mean. And at the end of the day, we have 3 investors today, out of which 2 are from CE or Czech Republic specifically. But they came only as a result of seeing that there is a big investment company from abroad investing in us. And it played a really crucial role in their decision for pre-seed investment. Now, the reason why we believe we are not seeing, or we are even seeing the interest from CEE investors, but the reason why they are not investing is that, as I said, there is a very few companies in this industry here. Connected to that, there is a lack of knowledge also on the side of the investors. So when it comes to the due diligence, for example, they don't have the expertise to, really well consider whether the investment is for them or not. And then they are rather careful or, protective and go or step back to be more on a safe side because they simply don't know. They are not sure. That's one reason. The other reason is, as I believe, is that our industry is very much costly at the beginning, and there is a huge price at the end. So we are talking here about the market, which 2 years ago, when I started to do the first analysis for Mewery, we were talking about a meat market of $900 million US. 2 years after, I have to redo the analysis completely because the market is $1.2 trillion US, and it's expected to be $1.8 trillion by 2035. So it's a big dynamics in the market. You have to have the knowledge. You have to be in the industry. You need to understand what's happening there because basically this industry is changing every week. So the knowledge, the kind of safety, let's say, and then we are also seeing a lot of interest from Western European countries, from US countries. There we face different, let's say, challenges. It's always harder for us in Central Europe to persuade these guys to invest in Central Europe. Let's face it, it's a historical thing, but it's still there. We still feel it there. It's harder for us, and we need to be even better than the Western European and US companies to be able to persuade them that, yes, the knowledge is there, the expertise is there, even in such a complex industry like cultivated meat is.
Perfect, thank you. And Alina, I've been thinking, do you, as the university, do you cooperate with VCs, like local VCs or international VCs, to sort of help your startups to get the investment? How do you see that interest evolving?
Yeah, I believe that a lot already have been said, and this is what I have realized during these 2 years, the lack of knowledge, unfortunately, and maybe not a clear, sufficient understanding of the possibilities in the food sector. So this led us to consider that we need to go out and look internationally for specific VC funds who could give this bigger perspective and also be more active in supporting our community. So yes, as the university, we are proactive and looking to these kind of VCs. Besides Agrifood, we are very actively working with, for example, Nordic food tech VC, who is specifically focused on agri-food sector, and biotech is one of their priorities, which we are strong at. And I'm extremely happy to know that they have already been investing in and supporting IO, right? IO, the Estonian company, and looking actively for the first investment in Latvia. So we are checking in regularly, inviting them to the events to see more perspective of what VCs are looking for. And so yes, we're doing it proactively. And second, I want to definitely give a credit to our startups, who have been like extremely passionate to go and educate about the market. As when I also see it in numbers, that in 2018 it was only 2.9% the agri-tech and agri-food startups in the whole startup community. So when I started 2 years back, there was no such community. So it was not like, if you would ask, like, is there agri-food startup community in Latvia, you couldn't name exactly what is going on. So definitely it was not considered as a force or specific sector that have an influence. But because of these active startups and coming together, now we have around 60, 70 startups in the community. And I'm super happy to point out that here today is also one of the representatives, Green Growth. They're turning data into insights for farmers. They're here very active in the field. Also in food innovations, Fermentful has been like very passionate, doing a lot of education on the opportunities in the agri-food market. So yeah, coming together, like from one side, very passionate founders going out, participating in different international programs and educating about potential, and from other side, us being proactive and trying to look for support and insights from VCs specialized in agri-food.
And while we're at it, let me just ask you, because like the Baltics have been mentioned several times here as the front runner, if we can call it a race. I mean, they've been very active, and you could see that you're confirming that here on stage. Apart from the fact that they're great founders and you're helping them out, are there like any other factors that you think are driving the growth of this particular sector in the Baltics? Anything else that, you know, like that has the Baltics stand out in the region?
I believe to what have been already said, these are like very active actors at the moment, and I cannot not give a credit to our colleagues in Estonia and Lithuania, like building strong ecosystems and also supporting the cross-collaboration between the country and us all together, like showing that there is the strength, as well as our researchers. For example, in Riga Tech University, specifically, we're strong in algae growing, in water innovations, in biotech and bioengineering, which drives attention of international investors and partners to look for the excellence in very specific areas. So as small countries, I could say for Latvia, we need to be creative and we need to be some kind of unique and specialized in some way to mark our way in the big picture.
Perfect, thank you. And Kamil, I'm not going to ask you about the VC investment landscape, because that's, unless you want to share some thoughts about this, you're welcome. But then, I mean, the startups also need partners, right? Like corporates to grow. What if there is, like in this room, if there is a startup that is working on some very innovative solution in like grain or tomatoes, as you mentioned. What do they have to do to sort of secure some sort of partnership with a company like Maspex? So like, what is the process? Like what would be, where do they go? Who do they call?
Yeah, generally, listening to what was said is all true, but even the question, your question, was a little bit biased because it was.
Sorry.
It was like, it's not enough money. We need more money, and actually, as we all know, it's not how business works. We need more trust, I believe. Like money is a trust, actually, economically. So I think we need more trust, and also from the side of innovators, we also need trust, trust to form a partnership with the company. And I think, speaking from the perspective of big company, big food producer, every project like that we can be very open in the testing phase, and we are. We can allow our production lines, our technologies to test, to innovate, to develop some invention. But actually, to be honest, it's very rarely that scientist, that innovator is also good entrepreneur. Those two perspectives are clashing a little bit here, and sometimes it happens that innovators has not enough trust actually in this company to form a solid partnership for the years. And as also is worth to mention, in agri-tech, in general in food production, it's not like in IT tech. It's some app that next month can be tested globally. With food, it takes time, to grow this food, to put it on the market, to educate people, because people are of course, this space is fascinating, but generally people are very conservative in terms of food, so they have to get used to those new innovations. And it's all about actually all those things are affecting this partnership, So we need time, we need long-term partnership, we need trust, and that's how we work. We want to work actually, and that's the projects that we've been doing so far. Then be done in this way. So at the beginning, we form partnership. We give our technologies, our people, our production lines, our knowledge to, let's say, calibrate this raw idea to something that can be realistic, that can be mass production done, etc. And at this first phase, we actually, as this partner, I mean, the big business partner, we are giving credibility to those innovators. So we are forming this partnership together, and we are looking for funds together. Like it can be European funds, like state funds, whatever. But we are looking for those funds together. But when it's tested, it's ready, and it's ready to be mass produced, then it's actually our business to produce and sell it. So that's how it works. So I believe that, of course, I'm not saying that there is enough funding for startups, but I'm just pressing on this side of this trust that is very needed in business partnerships, and also this long-term perspective. So it's not like just one invention, one test, and then, I don't know, Nobel Prize. It's more about years of building together some new business.
Sorry, but like in practical terms, what does it mean for startups? What they should or shouldn't do while working with a company?
Yeah, for sure. What is giving credibility is joining professional forums, like for example EIT for startups, for sure. For us, it's also a great pool of ideas and startups that we are selecting from, that looking for some good ideas. So this is giving credibility. And this kind of mindset, I would say, that you are entering future business partner, not just like money giver, I would say. It's this openness for this business perspective, for this time that is needed, for some financial check for your ideas. I think that's very also needed.
Perfect, great. That's a very important perspective, I think. And then we have, I think, 5 minutes left. So like as a very last question, can I ask all of you to give me one prediction for the agri-food startups in the region? How will it look like in the next 5 years? How do you hope it will look like? Or are you afraid it might look like? You choose the perspective.
It's a good question. I think challenges of food supply chain and food risks should not be isolated from other challenges that we face, one of them being energy security. At the moment, NVIDIA chips consume electricity amounting to some consumption of some countries. And the amount of electricity that will be consumed by artificial intelligence, by generative AI infrastructure, will most likely rise tenfold in the next 3 to 5 years. So investors in the future will look at startups that address, that solve an array of challenges, not only specifically food related, but also energy related. And this should be my key advice to startups here doing their product development.
Thank you.
I mean, I wish we will manage to create completely new environment for food tech, because today we were talking here just about investors, but the stakeholders who are in the same industry are also governments, are also academic fields, and many others. And at least speaking for the Czech Republic, I can't say that this whole or this set of stakeholders would really create a good environment for innovations to raise. And I think it may be a part of the problem why we are facing all the challenges that we are facing. So if I could wish something, then that innovation really gets into the center of all these stakeholders' attention and we move it forward. And I think EIT is one of the platforms that can help with that.
Perfect, thank you.
I would go back to the actually first of your questions when I was talking about those 2 legs. And I believe that the first thing that is very needed for sure, that is to make also people like consumers more open about innovative food. And I believe that for this, some kind of investment in education, like mass consumer education, is needed. And that will make life easier for also a lot of startups and innovators. And the second thing that I believe is very important is this all circular economy issues like waste management, packaging. Actually, those regulations are entering also our region now. I mean, starting in our region also. And for those, some smart solution how to proceed with the waste or packaging, that would be also very brave. I mean, it would be very big because that's already happening, and there's really big business need for these kind of solutions. Yeah, so that I think that would be my predictions. What will be big in the future in our food industry? Yeah.
Thank you.
As a Riga Tech University, we definitely believe that the food sector could not evolve without technology, and that technology is driving innovation in the food sector. So our prediction is that AI, cloud services, robotics, sensors, like you name it, from software to hardware, these will definitely be frontiers in the agri-food, as well as we are very devoted to supporting the biotech revolution and helping biotechnology be part of the food sector on the European level. So my advice, usually when I talk to startups, tech startups, it's to look into opportunities to adapt their solutions to the agri-food sector and see how they could use this chance and then the crisis we are currently facing in the food system to adapt to that. As well as we believe in systemic change and cross-sectoral collaboration, cross-discipline, also involving the whole ecosystem. So definitely joining the EAT food community and using all the resources that we have to get faster access to market, to get faster, let's say, expertise abroad and as well as funding for first activities in the sector, and they should definitely use it because I believe it will be the big part, and we will continue growth in the agri-food and agri-tech.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for all choosing the positive prediction for the future. Thank you for all your insights and the food for thought, during this discussion. I thought it was I learned a lot. I hope everyone here in this room has taken something from the discussion for themselves. Thank you so much, and see you later during the networking session.
Thank you.